Hey, what's up? It's Dane, and today I'm going to call out one of the most common pieces of English advice that everyone loves to repeat. Just watch TV in English. You've heard this before, right? Maybe from a teacher, maybe from a friend, or maybe from someone on YouTube who speaks 11 languages and has perfect lighting in all of their videos. And yeah, watching TV in English sounds like good advice. It sounds fun. It feels productive. You can lie to yourself and say, no, I'm not watching Netflix. I'm studying. But that's not really how it works. And I have a bit of an issue or a problem with this advice being repeated over and over again. So in this episode of English with Dane, I'm going to tell you why I have an issue with it and how you should and shouldn't be using TV as a tool, como herramienta, as a tool. We'll talk about how to use it to really improve, to actually walk away with better listening, better vocabulary, and better pronunciation. And not just feel like, oh, I probably improved. And to do this, I'll be using scientific research both to illustrate my point and to help you optimize your TV watching time for improving your English. So that said, let's get into it. You are listening to episode 7 of season 2 of English with Dane. Hit it. All right, you heard the music, so we have officially started the show. The first thing I want to talk about is why watching TV doesn't automatically make you better. So first of all, watching TV can help your English. I'm not here to tell you it doesn't work. It definitely can, but it depends on how you do it. So there's this idea in second language learning called comprehensible input. Comprehensible input. This is a fancy way of saying your brain learns a language best when you understand most of what you're hearing, but not everything. You should be challenged, but not lost. This is something I touched on in episode 4 of season 2 when we spoke about how to think in English. So let's revisit it for a second. This theory comes from linguist Stephen Krashen, and it's the reason why watching something way above your level doesn't really work. If you're watching some fast-paced crime show filled with technical vocabulary and regional accents, and you're only catching like 40% of the words, that's not comprehensible input. That's just noise. On the other hand, if you're watching Peppa Pig and you understand everything really easily, that's too easy. Your brain is relaxing. You're not learning anything new. You're coasting. The sweet spot is just above your current level. Enough challenge that your brain has to work a little bit, but not so much that you give up after 10 minutes. And here's where we add subtitles to the equation, because subtitles can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And this isn't just an opinion, this is backed by research, so let's nerd out a little bit. Let's talk about what science says about subtitles. Let's look at this research. In 2013, a study by Puedes and her team tested students who watched English videos with different subtitle options. First, no subtitles. Second, subtitles in their native language. And third, subtitles in English, in other words, the target language. So no subtitles, subtitles in their native language, and then subtitles in English. So what did the results reveal? The group that used English subtitles learned the most new words, by far. The ones with native language subtitles, not much improvement at all. Why? Because when you use subtitles in your own language, you're not really processing the English, right? You're just translating. Your brain is using a shortcut. It sees a sentence in Spanish and goes, cool, I get it, and then ignores the English audio. That makes sense. But when the subtitles are in English, your brain is seeing the words, hearing them, and connecting them in real time. It's a triple threat. You're building listening comprehension, reading speed, and vocabulary all at once. Another study out of Oxford by Vanderplank showed that learners who regularly used English subtitles saw a big improvement in listening skills over time. I'm not talking about weeks, I'm talking about months of regular practice. But the key here is regular. You can't just do this once a month and expect results. This is like going to the gym one time and expecting to be jacked the next morning. Jacked means really muscular. It doesn't work that way. You need consistency. So this was a 2016 study from Oxford by Vanderplank, and the key findings were learners who used English subtitles regularly over time improved not only vocabulary, but also listening skills, especially in catching fast, connected speech. So subtitles helped learners notice things they usually missed. Contractions like gonna for going to, wanna for want to, and lemme for let me. Also dropped sounds, so I don't know versus I don't know, and also emotional tone and emphasis. This is a quote from that study. It says, subtitles act as a safety net that allows learners to stay with the language input instead of getting lost. This leads me to the next part, the active watching method. So what's the alternative? How do you actually make watching TV help your fluency? Let me give you a method you can use. I call it the active watching method. It's simple and effective, and it works with literally any show. Let's break it down step by step. Step number 1, choose the right show. This matters more than you think. If the show is too complicated, too slow, or just full of fantasy words you'll never use in real life, you're just wasting your time. Pick something with real conversations, real-world English, good audio quality as well, and a speaking style that isn't too fast or stylized. And by too stylized, I mean that the characters speak in an exaggerated, unnatural, or over-theatrical way, right? In a way that doesn't reflect how people actually talk in real life. Period dramas like Bridgerton, Downton Abbey, or The Crown, for example. This is a problem because characters speak in an extremely formal, old-fashioned English. You'll hear words like shall, henceforth, things like utterly delighted, and long monologues with poetic grammar. The way they speak is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but not super useful for everyday conversation. I also want you to choose something that isn't fantasy or sci-fi. Remember, I'm talking specifically about shows to help you get better at English. I'm not telling you not to watch these shows in general. The problem with fantasy and sci-fi is that these shows often invent words, titles, or names. And also the sentence structures they use might be strange because they're often mimicking ancient or futuristic dialects. These types of shows might confuse you with strange grammar and vocabulary. They might teach you English that sounds awkward or out of place, no fuera de lugar, in everyday conversations. And they also might just make it harder to connect what you're hearing to real-life usage. So don't just pick your favorite show in English. It's important to learn to pick shows which will actually serve you. So that was step 1, right? Choosing the right show. Let's go to step 2. Watch it once with English subtitles. The first time you watch an episode, don't pause. Just watch it with English subtitles. Let's let your brain get used to the rhythm and speed and vocabulary. I want you to notice patterns, notice sentence structures. You don't need to catch everything yet. This is called incidental learning. Incidental learning. And it is your brain picking things up through exposure, not memorization. Pay attention to the tone, to the rhythm of the sentences, how the actors react when they speak. That emotional context will help you remember things better. Also, I think you should try to listen to the melodies of the language. English is a very different language melodically to Spanish. Now, here's where it starts to really become purposeful. Step 3. Rewatch small parts actively. Again, rewatch small parts actively. So now I want you to go back and rewatch short sections, maybe 10 to 30 seconds. And this time, pause and repeat. This is important. Pause it and repeat what they just said. It doesn't have to be a whole scene, remember that. Just a few lines will do. This is called shadowing. You hear the line and then you say it out loud. Try to copy the pronunciation, the speed, the emotion, the pauses. Don't just repeat the words like a robot. Act it out, maybe. Walk around your house a little bit, saying the lines. Imitate the character who said them. Then start making the lines your own. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to try. The goal isn't to become an actor. The goal is to get used to the feel of English, to train your mouth and your ears. Shadowing also builds confidence. You're getting comfortable speaking English out loud without overthinking. That's gold. I know it's not your own production, but it doesn't really matter because soon it will be. Step 4, write down useful expressions. Not everything, not full sentences, just short phrases you could see yourself using, que te verías usando. Examples. What's the catch? Don't get me started. I'm not buying it. Things like that. Just keep repeating them. Notice how they feel, how your mouth feels when you say them, where your tongue is placed in your mouth, if your teeth are involved, where vibrations occur, etc. Also, look for collocations, so words that often go together, like take a break, not do a break, right? Take a break. Write them down, physically, on paper. Your brain remembers things better when you write them down by hand. And also, don't overdo it. Just pick 2 or 3 per scene, por escena, that feel useful or interesting and that you see yourself using. And finally, step 5, rewatch with no subtitles. This is the test. Rewatch that scene or short section with subtitles off. Can you still understand it? Can you anticipate the lines? If you can't, it's okay. Go back, repeat. This is how fluency is built, through repetition, attention, and time. Again, through repetition, attention, and time. And a little bonus, you can try something called the 2x2 rule, dos por dos, the 2x2 rule. If you want a simple structure to follow, you can do this. Watch 2 scenes per day and watch each one twice. So 2 scenes per day and you watch each scene twice. First time with subtitles and second time actively. So doing that process we just outlined. You don't need 90 minutes of study time. You just need consistent engagement. You just need to show up and do the reps, much like the gym. Trust the process. This next part is also important. I want to talk about what shows to watch based on your level. So here are some suggestions based on where you are with your English right now. For beginners, Bluey, Peppa Pig. I know they're kids shows, but the English is surprisingly useful. Maybe also something like Modern Family because it has clear pronunciation, real, quote unquote, real family scenarios, and it's also easy to watch. For intermediate level speakers, maybe Brooklyn Nine-Nine has casual English, and it's fast but not too fast, and it also has lots of idioms. Maybe my personal favorite, The Office. It has dry humor, sarcasm, and lots of real-life expressions. If you're more advanced, you can try something like Fleabag. This is British English, but it also has deep internal monologues and really nuanced language. I also recommend Succession. It's fast. It has corporate vocabulary and a lot of layered meaning. Also, The Bear for realistic dialogue, overlapping speech, which is really the difficult part. So characters interrupting each other, trying to get a word in. And there's also that emotional chaos. So start where you are. Don't jump into The Bear if you're still getting used to how English sounds, right? Give yourself a fighting chance. This is really, really important. If you start trying this method with shows that are too far above your level, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Again, these are not just shows you're watching to watch. This is for active watching and shadowing. And let's move on to the final thing I want to talk about: common mistakes and last couple of tips. Here are a few mistakes I see people make all the time. Number one, watching passively for hours and calling it studying or practice. Sorry, no, you're just watching TV. Number two, writing down every word or phrase or expression, like feeling that need to learn everything. You're not going to remember everything, and it'll just end up killing your motivation. Number three, choosing shows that are way too hard because you'll get discouraged and you'll quit. Number four, never speaking out loud. This one, oh my God. Your brain needs your mouth to participate for this to actually work. Again, your brain actually needs your mouth to move and to make the sounds for this to actually work. And a few other tips. Remember that repetition is your best friend. Please rewatch scenes multiple times, more than you think even. You'll be surprised with how much it helps. Also, you can record yourself shadowing lines, then compare. This one is painful, es doloroso, it's painful. Nobody likes to hear themselves recorded, but it helps. Record yourself, say it a bunch more times, and then record yourself again and compare. Maybe you're starting on Monday, practicing a scene a few times, and then on Thursday you go back, you do it again, record yourself again. I promise you'll sound different. Another one, don't get stuck on a scene. There's that difference between doing a scene several times and getting stuck, quedándote pillado, atascado, getting stuck on a scene that's too complicated. If it's too hard, move on, do something else, or come back later when you're more used to practicing this way. And the last one, try using headphones. You'll catch more detail in pronunciation and tone, and that honestly helps a lot too. So, to sum up, watching TV can absolutely help you become more fluent, yes, but only if you do it right. You can't just assume that passive listening is going to get you where you want to be. Use subtitles in English, pause, repeat, speak, write stuff down, watch again. That's how you turn Netflix into an actual tool and not just something that you're doing on a Friday night. Try it out, pick a show, commit to the 2x2 rule for a week. Let me know how it goes. Tag me, DM me, send a voice note. I want to hear what you're watching and what you're learning. I know a lot of you are listening to this episode and you honestly believe what I'm saying will work, but you're still not going to try it. I urge you to try it at least once and see how it feels. I know it's uncomfortable at times, but I promise it works, and you'll actually be surprised with how effective it is. All right, that's it for this episode of English with Dane. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, hit that follow button on Spotify so you don't miss future episodes and to help the podcast grow and reach more people, which is my goal. If you have any feedback or just want to say something that's on your mind, leave a comment on Spotify or write to me at English with Dane on Instagram and TikTok. I'm always interested in what you guys have to say, and you know that I love reading every single message that you guys send me week after week, and it really helps me to stay motivated and keep putting out episodes. All right, hope you have a great week. Talk soon. Later.